Ascension Drainage meeting to order for May the 2nd. I'll let everyone know, Councilman Johnson is working tonight. I've seen Mr. Turner here, so everyone present except for Mr. Johnson. Mr. Ken Dawson will lead us in the invocation, followed by the pledge.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for all the blessings you bestowed upon us and the ability that you've given us to serve the people of Ascension. We thank you for protecting us, oh God, during the inclement weather and watching over us, oh Father, with all the grace that you always muster to give unto your people. We ask for wisdom, oh God, as we guide the people business tonight. We ask that you just show us, oh God, the direction that you will have us to go to continue to be a blessing unto the people of Ascension. We ask these blessings in the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anyone wishing to speak on any agenda item, please sign in with the Secretary. Move on to number 4, the acceptance of the minutes of April.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lambert, second by Mr. Johnny. Discussion? None. Motion passed. Just under the chairman's report, I want to thank everyone for the weekend work. It was a lot of flash flooding going on, and I want to thank all of our crews and everyone that come together to, and also helping the cities and everyone coming together. Move on to number 6, Mr. Rue.
Okay. Commissioners, what I'd like to start with tonight is the overview of the restructuring of Public Works, because one of the primary concerns of Public Works is drainage. In fact, if you kind of, once we go through some of this, you'll see where the vast majority of the work in Public Works is drainage of one sort or another. So what I'd like to do is go through how we plan on reorganizing it. The first page is just the basic organizational chart of Public Works, the new Public Works. And again, you got the Department of Public Works, you got divisions of the Department of Public Works, which is DPW Engineering and Pavement Management, DPW Drainage Management, DPW Vegetation Management, DPW Equipment and Inventory Management, and DPW Capital Projects Management. If you go to the next page, again, it breaks it out in a little bit more detail. And I think if you go to the third page, it gives you a good understanding of how this organization will function. The Director of Public Works, we're going to go through the position responsibilities of the different sections of the Department of Public Works. The Director of Public Works, responsible to manage all public works activities within Ascension Parish, excluding utilities. Assist the parish president with representation at DOTD and MPO for state highway projects. Assist the parish president with gaining assistance from state and federal legislative delegation on public works projects. Assist the parish president gaining assistance from state and federal agencies on public works projects. Provide direction and establishment of future proactive public works projects. Oversee the establishment of policies and procedures manual on all public works activities. Oversee the establishment of productivity management system. Oversee the establishment of the Public Works Information Access System. Oversee all budgetary requirements and other activities that's directed by the parish president. The first section of DPW, which is engineering and pavement management. That section will be responsible to organize, manage, and maintain a pavement management system for preventive maintenance and preservation of parish road systems. Provide hydraulic and hydrologic engineering for maintenance of parish, East Ascension drainage, and West Ascension drainage systems. Design and manage annual pavement overlay projects. Monitor and assist DOTD on state highway projects. Assist the Public Works Director with the establishment of a master transportation plan. Manage safety control devices and requirements on parish roads. Manage the parish survey group. And manage inspections of road construction, road cover installations, subsurface drainage systems and installations, and other activities that's directed by the Department of Public Works. The Assistant Director of Drainage Management. This position will manage capacity maintenance, which is the digging, and erosion control of parish, East Ascension drainage, and West Ascension drainage ditches and channels. Will manage East Ascension drainage pumping stations and levees. Will manage the bridge replacement, culvert placements, bulkhead placements within all ditches, and I emphasize all ditches and channels in Ascension Parish, and other activity that's directed by the Director of Public Works. Vegetation management, the Assistant DPW Director of that section of DPW will provide vegetation management and weed control on parish, East Ascension drainage, and West Ascension drainage servitudes and drainage facilities to include but not limited to parish maintain roadside ditches, off-road ditches and channels, levees, East Ascension and West Ascension owned properties, drainage district properties, and contracted DOTD highway ditches and right-of-ways. And again, like others, other activities directed by Director of Public Works. The Assistant Director of DPW for Equipment and Inventory Management will provide maintenance management of parish, East Ascension drainage, West Ascension drainage, vehicles and equipment, provide assistance in purchasing parish, East Ascension drainage, and West Ascension drainage vehicles and equipment, will manage the Department of Public Works main site and the placement, storage, and distribution of inventory material at that site, and other activity that's directed. And the last section is Assistant DPW Director for Capital Projects Management that will oversee and manage parish, EAD, and West Ascension drainage capital improvement projects, act as liaison between Ascension Parish and Pontchartrain Levee District, assist Grants Department of Public Works grants, and other activities that's directed. If you notice here, there's no mention as a distinction between the Drainage Department, Road Department, or other entities within Ascension Parish. The Public Works function is to provide these services throughout Ascension Parish, no matter where. And of course, some of this will exclude, when we talk about roadside ditches, will exclude the municipalities because of the way the Drainage Board set up the drainage district years ago. So with the exception of roadside ditches within municipalities, the Department of Public Works will do all work. There would no longer be a distinction between a roadside ditch and an off-road ditch. If it carries water, it's a ditch. And the Department of Public Works will man operations to maintain all of those structures. If you go to the next sheet, the Engineering Pavement Management Department, Assistant DPW Director will be Joey Turo. Drainage Management will be Alan Allred, Assistant DPW Director. Vegetation Management is Assistant DPW Director Ron Savoy. Assistant DPW Director for Equipment Inventory Management, Davin Duplessis. And for Capital Projects Management will be Mike Enlow. Those are the main Assistant Public Works Directors in charge of those different sections of Public Works. If you go to the next page, this is a flow chart how what a lot of people is concerned about is how is it funded and are we protecting dedicated funds. The way this is going to operate is and again, if you look at this flow chart, and for example, East Ascension drainage, and this is true for West Ascension drainage the same. Your millage and your taxes are going into East Ascension Drainage Fund 05. That fund disperses, will keep the East Ascension Drainage fund balance. The same applies to West Ascension Drainage. They'll keep their own fund balance within 05. We with 05 and West Ascension Drainage with 06. Out of that fund will be transfers out. Right now, we get a general fund transfer of 4% for administration fee that's been going on since we had the district. EA Drainage Sinking Fund, which is our debt payment. And then we transfer out Essential Major Drainage Fund. That's according to our funds that's needed to support our major drainage projects. That's our construction budget, and that's our major drainage projects. Now, new to that will be the Department of Public Works. A fund, part of that fund, percentage of the needs of the drainage, the Department of Public Works, which will now be known as 04, Fund 04. A percentage of the fund needed to provide services to East Ascension Drainage District will be transferred out from 05 into 04 on a yearly basis as part of the budget process to support all the activities that we've been doing independently through East Ascension Drainage. It'll be percentage of the total cost of operating 04. And then at year end, we will audit all of the work orders. Everything that we do will be by work order. Our men will not step foot anywhere outside the yard without a work order. That work order will will say exactly what kind of work is being performed. Is it part of the responsibility of East Ascension Drainage, the responsibility of West Ascension Drainage to pay for, or if it is the responsibility of the general fund, which is the road fund, because the road fund is transferred out of the general fund. So each one of these entities will be audited at the end of, all our work orders will be audited at the end of the year to verify that the work done meets the prediction that we came up with at the beginning of the year. Now, if, for instance, the audit shows that, now just throw a number out, the East Ascension Drainage donated $13 million to the DPW fund for operation throughout the year, and it comes up where it's only $14 million. Well, then that $1 million is reimbursed back into the fund balance of East Ascension Drainage. Same thing with West Ascension Drainage. So again, we're going to be audited at the end of the year to verify the fact that the money that was transferred over was used specifically for East Ascension Drainage work or West Ascension Drainage, as the law requires for dedicated funds. And this all have been passed through our auditor, and it meets their, a permission or approval. And to go back a little bit, so some of the people that's been here prior to 2007, we basically operated this way all through the police jury days and the beginning of parish government all the way through to 2007. Back then, though, the way we operated was that each employee at Public Works had a percentage from each of the funds put on them. Their salary and benefits were paid by a percentage of several funds. So in other words, when I was DPW director before, 50% of my salary was paid out of EAD, another 30% was paid out of general fund for roads, and the other percentage was coming out of West Ascension Drainage. The same thing applied to all equipment bought. It was percentage out and shared across the board by the different agencies. And the purpose of that was to enable all equipment, all manpower to be used anywhere in the parish. And what we're trying to do to get back to that capability to perform activities wherever needed in the parish. And also get away from what's been a sore thumb for a while, and that's having to tell somebody when they first call in, you got a drainage problem, is it in front of your house or behind your house? Again, that's not a necessity anymore. A drainage problem is a drainage problem. All of our people are able to mobilize to any function of drainage anywhere in the parish. And I'll give you, for instance, a lot of times when it's raining and we cannot get off-road to do a lot of work, then all our crews would be on-road doing projects, drainage projects along the roads if the need is there. So again, it's a much more productive way of running a organization like this. The other thing that we're looking at, because we've got more capabilities, we've got more manpower that we'll be able to use everywhere, and more equipment to be used anywhere and everywhere. We're looking at forming 5 zones of Ascension Parish. 4 zones in on East Ascension side, 1 zone on West Ascension. We have a northeast zone, northwest zone, southeast, and southwest. So you basically, then what we plan on doing is stationing crews, both vegetation management and drainage management, which is the digging and the spraying and cutting, crews in each zone that will stay in that zone. And periodically we'll rotate those crews from one zone to the other so they get familiar with all zones. But basically we'll man the zone, they'll be responsible to take care of all the problems within that zone. We're also looking at putting a substation, DPW substation, up in the northern part of the parish to handle the northeast and northwest zones, where we can put our manpower up there. They actually report to that substation and work from that substation and leave in the afternoon from that substation. So and then they don't have to come to Public Works and drive all the way across the parish to get to where they need to work. So this is, we're searching for a place now that to be suitable for our for that function, but that's our goal is to be able to separate the parish, function in zones, so we can react to the work that's needed in a timely manner, and also to emergencies. While we work in that the district. Now, if you go to that last page or spreadsheet, to prove to everybody that we're not taking anything from any other agency or any other district or fund without justification. The spreadsheet, if you go through it, right now, this is this year's budget. It's actually out of the adopted budget book, where East Ascension Drainage, Road and Bridge, West Ascension Drainage, Engineering, Fleet Management is all presented and was approved. What I did was add a last column, DPW, which is 04. And basically the only thing we're doing for the remainder of this year is transferring everything over, each line item, adding it up into the final column in DPW. So when you get to the end, you'll see that we're not adding anything to any budgets. We're not taking anything from any budget. Basically, they're moving their funds, allocating it over to one fund for us to operate to the end of the year. During the budget process this year, in a few months, we're working with finance to really organize the budget for next year based on percentages. But we're going to utilize this over this year. We're going to analyze it toward the end of the year and see how our work orders work out, the percentages, if they work out to about what we estimate. Again, if you go down to the bottom, to the end of that spreadsheet, the total funds from Ascension Drainage moving over, for this year only, moving over into 04 is like 51%. Road and Bridge is 29% of the total fund. West Ascension 4%, Engineering 6%, and Fleet Management 10%. So again, that's how the percentages break out. But again, we're not adding anything to a budget or taking anything away. We just transferred all of their line items over into one master budget for Public Works for this year to be able to operate until we get the new budget for next year organized and submitted. And again, the whole purpose of this is to be able to save money. If you go back to the engineering section, their primary function is to find ways of extending the life of public roads, of parish roads. Okay, they're out of the whole loop of working with DOTD and working the politics to try to get more major projects into Ascension Parish. That's my job now. Their job is primarily to focus on parish roads and find a pavement management system that we can do some sectional repairs or do some improvements or some repairs to the roads that extend the life. We do, again, sectional repairs or slurry seals and this type of stuff to maintain those roads, extend the life of the road from maybe 10 to 12 years to 15 to 20 years. So that's our major function. At the same time, they can be monitoring the road project for subdivisions and things like this. So We're not leaving anything out, we're just adding a whole lot of capability to Public Works to do everything in the parish equally. And I think this is going to be a major advantage to the parish.
Definitely. Appreciate all the notice and getting everyone out to, some names with the position. That's real good. Mr. President, you the chief here, that's what you got.
Well, we've been talking about it for a while, about trying to make things smoother and better. And well, one day when I got a call from a lady, they said she called Public Works, and the lady asked the front ditch, side ditch, back ditch, major drainage, and all that stuff. I talked with Mr. Rue, and he said that all ditches are drainage ditches. And then we got in talking with a couple of the councilmen, and we come up with this, which Mr. Rue worked on a good bit. We've been talking about the last couple of weeks to come up with a system that we can dig more ditches and do more drainage with less money. And so that's where we're at with that. And we're looking forward to working with y'all in each district. But I mean, the zoning area will handle, and whatever we need to change, we will as we go.
Yeah, the parish president is right. I mean, we're going to be tweaking this. This is the starting point of this new organization. And we're going to be, working with you council members and the public and the staff to make sure that, if we need to make changes, we'll tweak it as needed to make it better. But I hope that this is a good starting point.
Good job. Mr. Kluai?
Yeah, Bill, I just want to thank you for your hard work and looking at this and working hard on this. We've, when we got elected in 2008, we made a move to bring the parish and drainage back together, try to better serve the people as a whole. You and I worked together for a long time to try to get something like this going, and we just couldn't quite get it all the things tied together. We feel like with everybody involved now, that even if you don't save money, if you provide a better service to the taxpayers, then it's worth it. Just talk about the road ditch or the back ditch. That's minor and that's easy for people to understand. But there's been a lot of issues that could have been very simple that turned out to be very, very complicated based on entities being separated. Thank you very much, and we'll try this for a while.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, excuse me. I think this is a great start. I agree with Councilman Kluart. An ultimate goal is to improve the services that we provide the citizens of the parish. I really do want to see some cost savings along the way, and I think we can do that as we've consolidated a lot of things, and there's going to be some overlap. Let's look to the future to where the cost savings can come.
And I would tell you right now, and of course, we're going to talk more about it in our Transportation Committee meeting next week. But I'm telling you right now, we already making changes. We're going back and looking at the road program, the overlay program. We're going to budget that. Right now, I got it in the neighborhood of $4 million a year. And the purpose is I want to try to save as much money out of that fund to go back into transportation so we can use that money, to jump some of the projects at DOTD and get some projects, a major project in the Ascension Parish. I mean, that's the thing. We got LA 44, 431, the 73 to 30, LA 30 to do. We got a lot of major projects that we're going to come up with and include into our major transportation plan. We also going to use this same transportation plan because it's going to coincide with the zones for our impact fees, where we can actually join some of the money from the parish savings that we'll be saving from this in our transportation fund to be able to, go with the impact fees so we can actually use that money to get some of the state zeros done for state projects and be able to move that up in the MPO. And that's my job, beginning now. And that's the purpose of saving some of this money. Now, right off the bat, I'm looking at, my goal for this coming year is $4 million savings from reorganization. So that's my goal right now. I hope I can exceed it, but I'm gonna do everything possible to save $4 million. So,
Brother?
Mr. Lawler, just on mobilization alone ought to save us money. For example, front ditch is one thing. When they finish digging that, if the back ditch needs, then another crew got to come do that. So the same crew will be able to dig all of those ditches. So just on the mobilization ought to save money.
and Parish President brought up a good subject there. You know, when you see our crews go into a zone or go into an area of a zone, everything's gonna be done. The road ditches, the off-road ditches, everything can be done at one time while they're at that point, at that area. And I kind of like it to locusts. When they go through the weed control, when they go through, nothing left standing. So we want to rotate in that way where people won't say, well, you cut my road ditch, but I got this off-road ditch, and it took another 2 months to get to it. You know, you're right there. Well, that's not the case anymore. These crews are going to be cutting on-road, off-road, all at the same time.
Sounds like a great start and
Okay.
great efficiency. Let's keep going. Thank you.
That's it.
Mr. Sadler?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Root. Just for my own personal edification in the whole cosmic scheme of things here, with these new 6 department heads or assistants, where exactly does mosquito control and animal control / CARA fit
They're
in?
not part of DPW.
So they remain
They
outside
remain separate. Yes, sir.
in the health unit?
I would assume, I'm not sure what's happening on that end.
Only thing, but everything that's at DPW right now is gonna go under Mr. Rue. Major drainage, DPW and all of that area, and engineering. Now, we are gonna use some engineers to do projects, but they'll be paid out of whatever project it is. But all the rest of the parish is, not under Mr. Rue.
Okay.
Right.
So that will remain the same.
All the rest
And
of the
then my second question is, may we receive the names of the people under each of these new assistant DPW
Oh,
department heads?
when it's finished, right now, we're in that process, right, organizing the managers, supervisors, operators, and other classifications under,
That's just the heads.
Yes,
Right.
so he's talking about the crew.
no, we are in the process of organizing everything under that. In fact, we got a rough draft of it, but we can be moving people back and forth.
Yeah, and the reason I asked the question, Bill, and there's some confusion, it seems like among the council, I see the 6 heads printed, but do we go directly to them, or do we go to one of their subordinates if we have a problem in each of those 6
You go to
identified
the
areas?
director, the assistant directors, or myself, or the parish president, you send
I'd
them.
still like to know who they are, but I mean,
Those
if I see
names
things on
on
emails in
that
the
is
future-
my assistant public works directors.
Right.
And if you got an issue with digging, for instance,
Right.
or to clean a ditch
right,
to be dug out, that would go to drainage management.
okay.
And if you got a vegetation problem, it goes to vegetation management. If you got a pothole problem or a road surface problem, a safety sign problem, that goes to engineering, pavement management. Very simple,
So,
three
yeah,
areas.
shoot you a quick example. So if I've got a drainage problem, front or back ditch. and
Right,
by the way,
anywhere.
I-
Yes,
I-
you got a drainage
I
problem.
like what you said about if it carries water, it's a ditch. You
Yes,
bet it is.
That's it.
So I would write, let's say, to Alan Allred.
Mm-hmm.
Do I copy you on that, sir, or do you want to be copied, or do?
I would appreciate copying, because I like to be aware of what.
What they do.
What the problems are.
And we stop there?
That's all you need to do. Just
Okay. No
send him
need
the
to copy
name, address.
No need to
and,
copy the president or anything like that?
No, you don't have to. unless
Directly
you
with the
want to.
assistant director, copy to you.
You come to us, and we'll issue a work order, and we'll direct that to the proper crew in the proper zone,
Thank you, sir.
take action.
You also call me anytime you want, Doc. But you don't have to go no further than that.
I know that, Kenny, but I just want to I just want to follow the protocol as you envision it. I didn't say anything about this, but if you can save $4 million, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, and again, I can tell you right now, and again, I'm kind of hedging that. If right now, the budget for the road overlay is around $6.5 million. We're gonna budget $4 million on every year for overlay projects. So right there, I'm looking at saving $2 million just off of that. Now, that won't be the case every year, but if you go back in history, you go back at last year, year before, on all our road projects, if you look at, we've been averaging that much money. What I like to do is be able to, since we've been averaging $6 million, let's put $4 million for overlay, and let's automatically move $2 million over to our major transportation fund, so we can do some of these major transportation projects. So that's where I'm coming up with, a good bit of savings, and so we can put in the transportation fund.
Dempsey. Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I was gonna finish. You finished, Mr. Sal?
Yeah. Todd, I think.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, Bill, just to let the public know, and most of us know up here, right here you got monitor and assist the DOTD on state highway projects. As of right now, we are no longer installing covers for an individual person on a
Nope.
state highway, and I just
Right.
want the people to know that, because I'm getting calls on that, and right now, I don't think the state is doing it also, so that particular homeowner is having to get a contractor to actually do that. And I
As
just want
of
to
right
just-
now.
That was just a knowledge, yeah.
We
I
are
know
not.
it was costing us a lot of time and
Right.
money to do this that we wasn't required to do, so
Exactly.
that's one thing. Far as the zoning, I like the zoning. I think we've had some issues, in the past couple of years. We had some backlogs up to 200 on the work orders, and some took over a year to get done. With this zoning and stationing different people in different areas, I'm hoping to move that a little bit further,
Exactly.
quicker progress on it. One thing is, I'm hearing a lot of times, this job was an emergency over this job. Now, who's to say that, what job is more priority over another one?
It is gonna be, it is gonna be prioritized through our cartograph system.
Okay,
And that is, in most cases, it is subjective, but that's when I'm gonna have to intervene with the drainage and weed control people and road management people to determine what is truly an emergency or
and
not.
that's what I'm asking. Make
No,
sure it's
that-
fair, it's done.
that's right.
A guy turns in, a councilman turns in, or a constituent turns in a
Mm-hmm.
work order, that it's put in place where it gets turned in.
And that's our goal, is to be as
And I
objective
think
as
your
possible.
setup will work better, I
The,
believe.
and I'll give you when you talked about, when we move in, we backlogged so much. One of the worst things in the world, working on the road or doing road work, in the early mornings, late afternoons because of traffic.
Right.
With this system here, we can still work. Problem, what we plan on doing is, early mornings, we've got heavy traffic, school traffic and everything, they'll work off-road. In the same area, same location, as soon as the traffic eases up, they'll be back on road.
Right.
And they'll be going on and off, same thing in the afternoon. So again, we're better able to utilize all our employees, all our equipment.
Great. That's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Lamb, Mr. Turner, you had anything? Ms. Terry?
No.
Ms. Jones?
Just quickly, I want to commend you, Bill, for working this up. It looks like a plan that would be a positive impact for spending tax dollars and getting more work done. I like the idea that you're consolidating everything from a management perspective, but you're going to have satellite operations to make it more convenient to work in those zones. I commend you for that and working with the parish president.
And I have to give credit to my staff, especially Alan and Ron, who actually started coming up with this zone. We talked about it years ago, but they seem that they can make it work with the new way we functioning. And so I give credit what's credit due on that. They're the one who came up with the idea. So
Well done. That's all.
Mr. Dawson?
Yeah, thank you, Bill. I myself, excuse me, I wanted to tell you that I thought that's a good idea. Consolidation and flexibility is always good, and I'm anxious myself to see some of the improvements, especially in the monetary area. Additionally, I'm anxious to see, how we're going to report these things and how we'll tie in with West Ascension drainage. And I don't expect an answer to all that tonight, but just to let you know. But I wanted to also take a minute and ask you, if you would, to talk about the meeting that we had, was it last week? Time flies on me, that we had with the Corps and with FEMA concerning the base flood elevations in the areas where they're not determined in Ascension Parish. And if you don't mind, just kind of give everybody an update on that and where we're proceeding on it. Thank you.
yes, we did have a fairly major meeting, and some of the council members actually there. And to get to the core of the whole thing, there's always been a problem with BFEs, the base flood elevation, that people go get their house slab elevation or a permit to do it, and come to find out they're 2 foot higher than what they thought it would be or what it was, several years ago. And the next door neighbor is just the opposite. They don't have to get a permit at all or a BFE certificate because they're not even in the zone. The bottom line to all of this, and I think, what I learned out of it is the fact that if we do our own study and we establish our BFEs, and it's done by engineering standard, best practices, and if that study and that BFEs are adopted by the parish, we can use them as our FEMA BFEs. And that is ongoing right now. In fact, we're right at the end of this study done by the HNTB. We've got a few sections left of Panama Canal, and when we complete that, they're gonna run a full H&H of that drainage basin. We're gonna start with that drainage basin, implementing this plan that once we look at it, and if it's a major benefit, and if it brings down the BFEs and make it more logical sense, it's going to come first to the Drainage Board and then to the full council for adoption. And then we can use that in lieu of the FEMA, the firms, for establishing BFEs. Now, on the rest of the parish, southern part of the parish, is that's under protection of our levee system. That's going to take a little bit longer because that's going to be part of our LAMP process, the levee certification. But they're doing the exact same analysis in that area, and that's going to fall under a little bit different scenario because you're protected by the levees. But it adopts the same. You can adopt the same plan once it's completed for establishing the benefits and establishing your BFEs. So that was something actually I did not know that we can adopt that and don't have to worry about even submitting it to FEMA, or we submit it, but it's granted automatically. And if that's the case, and once we look at the new analysis of the Panama Conway Basin, and if all agree it's a benefit to adopt that, I think we can have that before the end of the year, and use our plan. And in the future, they'll continually use our plan, our analysis, which we're going to update periodically, to resubmit their firms in the future. So again, we talked about a lot of things during the meeting, but I think that's the core of the conclusion that really enthused me about getting something done for us, these BFEs.
Okay, thank you. Well, I also wanted to bring up this possibility we could improve some of our insurance premiums.
Absolutely.
There's some point system, some things I'm not exactly familiar with, but you guys are familiar with it, and Mr. Kluar's familiar with it, that, these are ways that we can perhaps reduce the premiums that our residents are paying. Is that correct?
That's correct. And in fact, in a few weeks from now, we're going through a major walkthrough by FEMA to gain for those points. And if really, we really feel safe by saying that I think we're going from an 8 to a 7. And I don't think that's much of a problem. I think we have enough things in place to get it down to a 7. And we're continually working, and that's Marcy in our planning office, Shivers, and Darryl Primo is working on that continuously. But I think we can bring that down one more point through this review.
It's my understanding that would result in a 5% decrease in insurance premiums for people that are in the 100-year flood zone. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, I appreciate that. I also wanted to thank Congressman Graves and Senator Cassidy's office and Senator Richmond. Where they all helped us with this, and I think, the possibility we can reduce the premiums for a lot of people in Ascension Parish.
Absolutely.
Mr. Kluwer?
Yeah, just once again, like Bill said, that was a great meeting. And just to let everybody know, we've been fighting this fight for a number of years here. Fighting it in both directions. Bill's been fighting like hell to try to get us to where we could get some appreciation in writing for all the money, the $150 million or so that the people of Ascension Parish have spent for flood protection and to better help themselves. Then the council and administration on the other side have been fighting some federal legislation for a long time about flood insurance rates. So it's kind of coming together, and FEMA was very honest with us. The people that were in the room were probably so helpful, it's just unreal. And I don't think we've ever been positioned any better within our federal delegation to try to help Louisiana, help South Louisiana, and help Ascension Parish. these guys are all on board. They're kind of grassroots type guys, the ones we got up there right now. But it's, we found out that some of the things they don't do is that they're not getting down to the nitty gritty and getting down to every drop on the map with their elevation shots, okay? There are places that they're blanketing areas. What Bill talked about, and that's his push for the meeting, was the fact that we're gonna try to get our own readings. And you, Bill, you said that they said we can use our readings. They're gonna be reviewed once we get them. They're gonna have to, not necessarily approve them, but review them, and I'm sure that if 6 out of 10 points match up, that, you know, they're good with it. Because that's coming out of our pocket. They don't have the money within their budget. So you might want to check with the folks in DC and see where the money's going, but it's not going into FEMA's budget for those type of things, all right? Once again, the people of Ascension Parish within the administration and the other guys, we got to try to reach out and help people ourselves. And so we hopefully, Bill, if the certification of the levies would be a great thing. If we can get that by the end of the year, that would be cool.
We will have the Panama Conway will be in the plan of the H&H of that, so we can go to the decision on if we adopt it or not. That will be in before the end of the year. The other aspects of the LAMP program or the levy certification, the first stages of that, will come up for review by the first of the year. And then we'll make the decision that do we get enough benefit from going through that process, or do we have to go or need to go through full certification of our levies, and then we'll look at the cost of that, cost benefit, and it'll be the decision of the Drainage Board to go further with it or to stop where we're at and take the benefits from that process, just that part of the process. So again, that should be the first of next year.
And I think when we get to full certification, there's going to have to be some money thrown out for some
Upgrade of the
some
levee
upgrades.
systems more than anything else, some closures of the levee systems. You know, but again, this has come to you for full review and everything, the numbers and the money and the time that would be put out there to determine if you want to go further. And it'll be your decision after that.
Good job.
I attended that meeting, and worthy of mentioning is the fact that they complimented Ascension Parish as a whole, the administration, the council, Bill and his folks, on the proactive nature of what we're doing here. We're not just sitting back and waiting for things to happen. We've been building levees to protect people from flooding. We've been taking the proper action. And you mentioned the criteria for doing the survey that we hired H&TB, I think it was, and they were impressed. They said, wow, that's a whole lot more detail than we require. So I think we got a positive nod, am I right, Raina
Yes,
and Bill?
yes, we did.
From the folks, from the federal agencies and from the congressional.
And just a note on that, FEMA is sending down a, I don't know what to call it, somebody that does their, I guess, they write up stories for nationwide publication for activities in different areas of the country, and they want to come down and do a story on us for publication in the FEMA, through the FEMA resources, about what we're doing down here. And we should, I think we're at the first meeting in a couple of weeks, you know, with this person.
Very good. Parish President.
That's all, Mr. Chair.
Now, just to let y'all know, there is a FEMA boot camp, so any of y'all want to sign up, tablets on the table. It's for true, too. It's
I think we might
week
get
long.
points for that. We get
We
points.
will.
for
Get
some of
points
the
for
things.
going, yeah.
So who's
Parish
first?
gets points, not
It's
us.
in Maryland.
Mr. Dawson.
And also, I think that Councilman Dawson asked about the CRS program and that training, that we've taken care of that, they're reaching out, so whenever that training comes up, the class rating system that you spoke about, reducing the insurance, we will let you guys know if you want to attend and sit in on it. I know you requested, we'll make sure you're aware of it.
Good job. In closing, I know it's a lot of information, and anyone has anything else? No, we're just closing. Bill, hey,
Well, I'd like to just briefly mention the project status of
Go
some of
ahead.
the projects. I know that's a concern to some of the people out there and some of you commissioners. The Law Rich levy, I was gonna let Jake come up and talk about Law Rich levy, but real briefly, you know, we've, in the final, stage of approval with the Corps for the permit, we're waiting on getting their information back they got a couple of little minor comments that we have to address, also with the state, working through that. We're getting ready, they already started the surveying of the property corners for acquisition, and they're finishing up the final plan. So everything is working toward completing that, at least the stages that's necessary before we can able to go to permitting, to bidding on that. So we hopefully by the end of the year, we finish everything.
So we're closer on the permit.
We're getting closer every day. And I'm gonna have a better information on that. One of our agents is gonna be, Mr. Calloway is gonna be there later this week, and he's gonna report back to me on exactly where they're at that stage of all our permits. And so I should have information I can give out to y'all in the email to tell you exactly where we're at on permits. Pump number 7, we have a little bit of a problem with the issue with the bidding and sales tax that was or was not in the bid. And BKI, Mr. Picard is handling that, and they can resolve that issue in the next few days. And we'll either be going with the with the bidder as bidded, or we'll be rejecting that bid, or he'll be pulling back off that bid, and we'll go on to the next bidder.
Talking about the construction and
The
installation?
construction and installation, though.
Not the
So-
pump itself?
No, the construction installation. But anyway, I'll give you more information as I get it, and I'll email each one of you with what's happening there. Frog Bayou, we're waiting on of course, we went through public comment period. Everything was sent back to the Corps at the end of that period. We're waiting from the Corps to send us the comments that they received from the public, at which time we'll answer those comments and get further into the process of getting that permit issued. There's also, we're going with GSA to complete the plans on that project. And we're working, one of the vital, parts of this project is getting permission from the EBR resident that owns the property across from Frog Bayou. We have to do some work over there for us. The placement of riprap to secure that bank line when we do open it up, because we're enlarging the gates, and we're trying to work with him for permission to go over there and do that kind of stuff. We also waiting for a counter offer from the owner of the property for us to purchase. So he has our offer, we're waiting for a counter offer right now. And then we'll proceed as I receive, whatever I receive from him, we'll just keep the negotiation. We're not gonna spend much time on negotiation, but we're gonna give him a chance to issue a counter offer. Muddy Creek, and that's the full extent of Muddy Creek from Manchac Harbor all the way up almost to 61. We should be receiving the Corps of Engineers permit on that just any day now. I'm expected to get a notice from Volker that they have received it, but it's right at the final stages of permit approval. And the plans are complete. So again, we're only waiting for the final approval of the permit to get started on that major project. That's gonna be done in-house by our major channel group. One thing about our plan, we got 2 groups that's not going into the zone for DPW. One group is our major channel improvement group, and that's led by Mr. Thad Denham, and in the, Mr. Kenny Broussard is handling the DOTD road cutting plan. That's what we're being paid by DOTD to do, or supplemented by DOTD to cut along DOTD roads. And that's separate from the zones, because when they get on something, they go through all the zones at one time, with the roads and the major drainage structures. So again, those 2 are a little bit different, but our major crew is gonna be doing the Muddy Creek project. The FEMA certification 11, we already talked about that, and I mentioned the time schedule of that, and the H&H studies of Panama Conway we already went over. So basically, that's, you have any questions, I will conclude my report.
Mr. Coolidge, you had something?
Yeah, Bill, for you to restate, based on the crews that Thad's got and the other crews, is that they still fall within your jurisdiction?
Oh, yes, I mean, everything's
what I-
under DPW.
Just wanna make sure.
But again, they're not assigned to a zone, because they go beyond the zone when they get on a project. Both crews, the weed control for DOTD and our major drainage channels. And again, on that issue, the major drainage channels, we're getting back on a full rotation of cleaning the major drainage channels like we did about 10 years ago. We're about ready to get started into this, well, probably the first of next year, into this year. On that program, we went through, as you remember, Bird Allen Ditch, the Beer Rat Ditch, Bayou, Black Bayou, Bayou Francois, Smith Bayou, all of those channels went through and we desilted or we cleaned them and bank stabilized all those channels about 10 years, 12 years ago. And we're about ready to get started with that full cycle again, so.
One quick question on, you said Frog Bayou, but also Alligator Bayou. Every plan that came up where they dumped in the man shack had some riprap on the opposite side, you know, and to take care of and things like that. You said we got to deal with,
Well, we gotta get permission from the landowner, or formal permission and servitude to be able to put the riprap there, secure the bank line. We have to really reestablish some of the bank line on his side in EBR Parish, and then apply the riprap to protect it, to keep it from eroding when we do open up our locks. But of course, you know, since we are enlarging it, when we get a full flow coming out, it tends to have a whirlpool or eddy in that area all the way across, and it kind of erodes some of the bank line on the other side. And so we want to secure that and within this project. And so we're working with them to give us permission.
thank you, sir.
Mr. Terry.
Yeah, Mr. Rue, recently, a man that lives back in the Ridge Road community, his name is Bruce Rogers, made the statement, and I'll quote him. He said, "I wish I had a councilman with the balls to do something about flooding in the Bluff Swamp. I would like for you to advise me what more I can do and we can do as a parish to move this project along. And I have done all I believe is possible under the constraints of what is the operative word in this situation, swamp. And so designed to flood. And so if you would share with me, please, and with the folks who live back there and with Mr. Rogers, what more we can do and when we are going to make progress, I would appreciate it.
Well, like I mentioned a minute ago, I mean, we're working on the last stages of the permit process, and in everything that Drainage Department does, is a common condition of everything we do is to get a Corps permit, and we are at least at the mercy of the Corps of Engineers. That's our critical path on just about every major project that Drainage Department does. And we have no control over, and as far as I know, very few people have any control over the Corps of Engineers. We have to go through that process. So right now, you know, we submitted this thing over a year ago, you know, for a permit. If it would not be for this permit issue, that project would have been completed earlier this year. Without a doubt. It's not a major project. I can get on that, I can bid it out and get people in there and get it done in a few months. But we have to wait in all our projects, we have to wait 6, 8 months, a year, year and a half to get a permit to go and do it. So everything's dependent on that permit. We cannot touch it, we cannot fool with it until we get the permits. And that's been the issue there, just like every other project that we ever done. Now, the only reason we were able to get the additional pump at Marvin Borough Pump Station because it was grandfathered in. We got that permit back 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, when we did the first portion of that project. In that project, then BKI and the parish had enough forethought to say, let's include that seventh pump. We're doing the base, let's include the pump itself. So it was in the permit that we received 5 years ago. So that's why we're able to move on getting that pump in place without much trouble. But every other project, including the Law Rich Lead, that's been going on for 2 years or more for the permitting. It's a big, big hassle. It's a big problem with the parish and getting timely, getting work done in a timely manner. We depended on them in order to come back. I can also say that we have never been, that I know since I've been here, we have never been refused a permit. And that's what makes most of us the most angry. Because we say, well, look, we know we're going to get a permit. And in most cases, it's just the matter of money for mitigation. I can't understand why they just don't say, look, you want it, it's going to cost you this much money. And we're going to resolve that issue in a month or two and move on with the project. But you have to go through the dog and pony show. You have to go through all of this process, and then in the end, you pay your mitigation credits, and you get the permit, and you go about your business. So it's really aggravating to us. But nothing else in that project for us, the Frog Bayou project can be done until we get the permit. And we've been after them for, like I said, a year. Hopefully, we at the end of that process, but we have no guarantee that we are. It could go on another 2, 3 months, 6 months. And now, having said all that, if we ever get our 214 man set up at the core, that will eliminate a lot of our problems for getting permits. That has not been signed yet, and I have our representative going to check on that this week also. Where is that 214? It's been completed and been signed off by some of the Corps, not all of the Corps, and we don't have it in hand. So we're going to check on that. As soon as we get that, then a lot of these projects can go straight to him, and we might be able to expedite everything. The other issue in Frog Bayou and the Bluff Swamp is the fact that there's, as I remember, I don't know, and I'm going back to even Allison in 2001, I don't know if many structures or any structure has really been flooded. The problem in that area is the chance of flooding if we don't get more capacity, and which means draining it out into Bayou Manchette when we have the chance, which is what this project is going to do. But the issue is more nuisance flooding around the homes and in the yards and in the back, and the potential of major flooding if we don't get that water out in a timely manner when we get another heavy rainfall when it is full. But as of right now, not many homes that I know of actually flooded. Some had to sandbag during Allison, but that's actually when we had the overtopping of Alligator Bayou Road. So we're trying to relieve them as much as possible. And if they got a way or influence with the Corps that they can get that permit sent on down here, I'll be glad to get it. And I guarantee we have it bid out within 30 to 60 days.
Okay. Mr. Rue, have I failed to do anything that I should have done?
Actually,
please,
you've been on my case quite a bit over the last year.
Or 4.
Oh, yes. Well, especially over the last year. And, but in a nice manner, but you've been on my case a lot to get something done over there. In fact, in your district, that's the primary concern, is trying to get something in that area. And we've been working on it, so we're trying to get something done.
Very good.
Thank you.
Mr. Cluart, I'm sorry.
Yeah, real quick on
About the
Ms.
demo.
Cazzo, I just want to bring you up to speed, even before you were elected, that we did go forward and try to work on a solution for that area. We ended up in court in another parish, and we had our handed to us, okay? Bottom line. It was very plain when we walked in and when we walked out. But that everything we do around there in that Bayou Manchac area is a 3-parish problem. At that point, I think that we've got a very decent working relationship with Iberville Parish right now. I don't think we have anybody at Baton Rouge that is pushing down on us on anything, because it flows downhill. So they don't have an issue at this point. And I think everything y'all got in place, you and Bill got in place, is a workable solution that we're going to get it as soon as we get that permit. And I don't think the dollar value is a problem right now.
Well, and for that, I am extremely grateful, and I appreciate everything that's been done. But I just think, based on this kind of statement, that obviously there's some confusion out there about whether enough is being done, and I want to clarify it. I want to make sure people know that we are doing all we can do. That this is a complicated process. I mean, I've been a part of all of those meetings, and it's just not as easy as going out there and getting this done. There are things that have to happen that make it possible. So, Bill, I thank you for everything you've done, for your responsiveness to me. I just want that community there to know that they are a top priority for me. And, this kind of hurling of insults is just absolutely unnecessary. And the work is being done. Yeah. And we are only going to get it done as quickly as the Corps will permit it to be done. So I thank you for that, and for these gentlemen who support me in that effort.
And I want to say something about that project, because we had some comments about what we're doing along Ridge Road. We're upgrading all the covers along Ridge Road, and we upgrading actually the channel itself, the ditch, big ditch. We improving it to be a constant slope all the way down. But people are saying, well, yeah, you open it up, you improve it like this, just put the water on us a lot faster, but that's not necessarily true. What we are going to do at the end, at the last location of a culvert going past Mr. Doty's place, actually going to be a flap gate control structure that when water gets to a certain elevation, it closes, and water will not back up into that ditch from the swamp. So it'll only be there to relieve water, head water coming through it, and we'll be able to control the backwater coming into it from the swamp. So I want to relieve everybody's concerns that live along there that it's not going to be putting more water on them. So,
Good, thank you. Bill.
One quick one.
Go ahead, Mr. Lambert.
Bill, you said the example of the Law Ridge levee, and you said a couple of years, but we've been working on that project a whole lot longer than 2 years. So, Terry, you are doing,
Yes.
your progress is moving forward, I believe,
it does,
and a whole lot quicker than the Law Ridge levee. I had it 6 years ago. I don't have that district. Randy inherited it from me. And
Yeah.
before then, it's been on the books for quite a while
yes.
to get the Corps to give us a route to take to build this levee. It's probably been over 10 years, because we, not
It's
to say
been-
anything about Jake, but we
Right.
had a different engineering firm that even looked at it many years ago.
and that's where the Corps that really screwed us up on,
Yes, they did.
because we went many years ago. When I first came here in 2000, it was on the books to get something done.
Yeah.
And that's when we went to the Corps with another engineering firm, and they emphatically told us, do not even think about it unless you go through a wet-dry interface, which means put it close to the high ground.
Follow the
He
road.
said, if you go into the swamp, you will not. And they would say, repeat this. They repeated it to us. You will not get a permit. You're wasting the time. So that's when we went to engineering to try to get this wet-dry interface. It cost way too much to do it. It didn't make any sense because you didn't have any storage.
Right.
Came back and hired GSA through PLD, and one thing led to another. I've come to find out, and say, oh, well, it's possible that you can.
And I want to commend Jake on that,
Yeah.
because Jake Lambert
That's
with
right.
GSA has been real persistent in trying to get this done, and I think he's very close. So.
If they would have told us this, 15 years ago, we probably would have had it built by
been
now.
closer, yeah.
Yeah.
It might have been built, yeah.
But, they put us, installed us by telling us don't even apply if it's going through the wetlands.
But I just
going
want to
through
give
the
that
swamp.
example. It's more than a couple of years. It's quite a few years
Okay.
back.
Definitely appreciate that.
Yeah.
Some of the old timers that's been around here, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bill, did you have anything for Jake and
No,
Henry to come up?
again,
Are
I
you
touched
okay?
the main stuff on the Law Ridge. I think everybody understand where we're going
Well,
with that.
well, look, we're closing with
Right.
this. Look, in the next couple of months, we're gonna have a new colonel. Let's, Colonel Hanson's on his way out. I'm tasking the parish president, whoever else we can all get together here. Let's welcome, I think it's Colonel Weir. Is
not
it
sure.
the new colonel that's coming in?
I'm not sure.
He came by the office
Please,
a
please,
couple of weeks ago. and
Yeah.
Introduced us.
let's welcome him with open arms. Let's try to get this thing moving and continue. I'd love to see Colonel Hanson sign off on his way out, but I don't know if that's gonna happen or not. But please, let's keep this relationship. Any violations, I know we don't have any violations, but let's keep this thing clean and moving forward. I see Stephen back there, and we need all the help we can get with this full-time. And, Past President, you had anything to add to that?
Well, we asked the colonel the number one question, when we will get Law Ridge permit, and he said, I can't give you a date, but it's close, and we're waiting on a few more comments, and you should get it. That was his
Great.
comment.
Appreciate that. So whatever y'all need, please, let's line up something and keep the communication open. With that, anything else? If not, we're gonna move on to the, general business. Number 7, request for approval, Mr. Rue.
Yes, sir. The next 3 items has to do with FEMA buyouts of frequently flooded properties. And again, this goes through FEMA, is already a pass through us. This is fully funded by FEMA. Nothing comes out of the Drainage Board. But we have to pass the motion on each one of these. Request approval to enter into agreement to offer and close on the purchase of HMGP 1792-005-0001, property number 1-44400 in the amount of $130,000, and to authorize the parish president to execute all documents.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Law.
Second.
Karen Law, second by Mr.,
Got it.
I'm sorry, second by Mr. Terry Castle. Any opposition to the motion? If not, motion passed. Number 8,
request approval to enter into agreement to offer and close on the purchase of HMGP 1792-005-0001, property number 2-14085 in the amount of $210,000, and to authorize the parish president to execute all documents.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Mr. Lambert, second by Mr. Johnny. Any discussion? Any opposition? Not, motion passed. Number 9.
Request approval to enter into an agreement to offer and close on the purchase of HMGP 1792-005-0001, property number 4-17481 in the amount of $200,000. Authorize the parish president to execute all documents.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Lawler, second by Mr. Dawson. Discussion, or any opposition? Not, motion passed. All right, number 10, authorization. Mr. Rue?
Yes, sir. This is according to our policy. Authorization to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement, a cost share agreement for the placement of a bulkhead at Grace Works Church, Highway 44, Prairieville, Louisiana. And again, there's a cost share. They're paying for all labor and equipment. We're paying for material for the installation
So
of that. They own it thereafter.
Moved by Ms. Castle, second by Mr. Lambert. Discussion on this? Any opposition? Not, motion passed. Move on to number 11, the executive session.
Move to go into executive session.
Second.
Moved by
Second.
Mr. Lambert, second by Mr. Johnny. Roll call, Ms. Secretary.
Travis Turner,
Yes.
Daniel Satterley,
Yes.
Aaron Lawler,
Yes.
Randy Cluite,
You had to
Vincent
make, step
Lambert.
out. You had to step out.
Bill Dawson. Terry Casso,
Yes.
Todd Lambert.
Yes.
Ron Patton, aye.
Yes.
We're in executive session.
He got sick. Oh, really? He's over whatever it was.
Got a motion to reconvene.
Moved by Mr. Lambert, second by Mr. Johnny to reconvene from executive session.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Moved to Mr. Johnny by Mr. Lambert, second by Mr. Johnny. We adjourn.